All right, we're back. Sorry about the wait there. We're here for round 2 of the Nerd Rage 10K Modern Pioneer Legacy Team event. So where players are sitting down for round 2, we're going to start with Pioneer this round. Change things up since we didn't see much Pioneer last round. And Charles Fitzpatrick versus Ivan Espinosa, who some of you may recognize. It was the winner of the 2021 Nerd Rage Championship. So he was also thus the first person to qualify for this year's championship. Charles Fitzpatrick, joined by Tyson, Cromeens, and Rami.
Mansour, I believe.
Mansour, yeah, okay. And then we've got Ivan Espinosa, Raja Sulaiman, and Zach Allen. But we are in Pioneer. Rakdos Sacrifice versus Mono White. So Rakdos Sacrifice, not even the most popular black-red deck in Pioneer. In fact, not even close. But a deck based on very cheap spells and sack outlets, claim the firstborn as a threaten. And this deck is good at stalling in combat, if nothing else, versus Mono White, which wants to attack. So we'll just see how this plays out.
This is good old creature combat, right? With some combat tricks, some stealing of your creatures, sacrificing them to the oven, for example. Who's the beatdown here, Joe? Who's gonna win in the long run, and who needs to try to close it out quickly?
Well, I think Mono White probably wants to be applying the pressure here because Ivan's deck is more capable of grinding than the Mono White deck. The Mono White deck is going to put bigger threats on the board. And its interaction is mostly going to be Brave the Elements, which is going to be pretty strong. Charles is going to have to consider: do I want to Brave the Elements as a protection spell from something like Claim the Firstborn, or other removal spells, or do I want to try and hold on to it for like the Alpha Strike? And that's also going to depend on whether Ivan's able to put blockers into play of multiple colors to be able to defend against the all protection swing in here.
So technically, you would set up a board where you would need 2 Brave the Elements to really break through for the Alpha Strike.
Conceivably,
if it comes to that.
Yeah, if it comes to that. But we'll see. I mean, Ivan's creatures, or I'm sorry, Charles's creatures are going to be bigger than Ivan's at basically every point. And we can see here Luminarch Aspirant growing. So we've already got a 4/4 coming in, which is going to be bigger than basically everything that Ivan's deck could put out there.
So yeah, I guess Ivan can just go and suck up a little bit of damage, right, before things actually become problematic.
Yeah,
as you build up your board with all those interactive creatures that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be looking for Witch's Oven to combo with the Cauldron Familiar to give himself a free blocker. We have the Blood Tithe Harvest. Is that a Blood Tithe Harvester? I think it is in play. There's the Witch's Oven. All right, that's significant, as now this Cauldron Familiar can block free forever.
This is almost like a maze of it that also drains the opponent for 1 life every single turn. So you get to disable their biggest creature unless it has trample, I guess, and take it out of the game that way. But also having, I guess, some long-term potential. How often does it really happen that you literally just grind out the opponent with the Witch's Oven and the Familiar?
I mean, I think it's more of it's just a way of stalling and stalling and stalling. I mean, this deck wants to stall. It has a lot of 2-for-1s. And here is, I thought we'd see this. Blood Tithe Harvester is going to pick off the 1/1 Aspirant just to stop that from getting out of hand. And yeah, these Cauldron Familiars and Witch's Oven is just going to block for days. And then you're going to set up, you have Deadly Disputes, you have Fable. So there's more card advantage, more card filtering on the Rakdos side here. In fact, the Mono White deck doesn't have any of either. It's just, and there's a third Luminarch Aspirant. So it's just going to grow bigger creatures. And you see spreading out of the counters to provide multiple threats. And Brave the Elements and Sacrifice the Creature is the primary. I'm sorry. Claim the Firstborn and Sacrifice the Creature is the primary removal for the Rakdos deck.
I'm just looking at the Mono White deck, and outside of the Brave the Elements that you mentioned, I don't really see a lot of technology to really make it so that you can break through a wall of random chump blockers and 2-for-1 creatures.
Yeah, it's just you just have to go wide and big at the same time. But this Mayhem Devil is going to put a stop to that. This is going to allow all these sacrifice triggers are now going to be pinging, which is going to be a major problem for the white deck to get through. Cauldron Familiar blocking forever is now just going to do a damage on the way in and on the way out.
Yeah.
Through the Mayhem Devil. And I didn't look at the specific list, but generally the only removal in the white deck is Brutal Cathar.
Yeah, we got a couple of those. We got 4 copies of Brutal Cathar, yeah.
Right. So if one of those doesn't show up almost immediately, this Mayhem Devil is just going to pick off the board. And even if the creatures on the board are too big for the moment, anything freshly cast will immediately get killed.
I guess the only other removals that we have is Aganshu, Seed of the Empire, where you can deal 4 damage to an attacker or a blocker. I guess that's one way to get rid of the devil.
It is, although I would be surprised if the sacrifice player allowed that vulnerability to happen here. So here's a Cauldron Familiar getting sacrificed, ping on the stack. Here is Brave the Elements. All right. So this is a key interaction here, although there's obviously only so many copies in the deck. And so
are we trying to just like swing for some damage and maybe have another Brave the Elements on the next turn to potentially get there?
So how much is this coming across here? This was like 4, 8, 11. So that's great. But this Cauldron Familiar, Witches of Interactions, that gains life also. And now there's food in play. There's a blood token. So everything that gets sacrificed.
Oh, second Mayhem Devil, dude. This feels like this card should be legendary. This is way too good once you have multiples. I need to fix this format, like Emergency Errata or something.
It is quite good. Now another Brave the Elements here looks like it would be enough to potentially end the game, but it would probably have to be this turn. How much damage?
I guess technically Mayhem Devil could actually kill Thalia.
Let's see. So this is so much damage here. Actually, we might even be past that point. So this is 2 damage here, yeah. And then now Witch's Oven can sacrifice a familiar and then sacrifice the food to bring it back again. So that's 4 more damage available.
We're actually taking it back, like no chances to be scared of just like losing to the beatdown and the cat being baked and coming back. Or like flavor wise, don't tell me they weren't aware of that, right? I mean, Cauldron Familiar and Vicious Oven. I feel like this is one of those things when Wizards like puts together cards and sets. They're like, hey man, this is so flavorful. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Vault available to block the Cauldron Familiar here, but there's a couple problems with that. One, it's kind of a worthless. Killing a Cauldron Familiar is not worth very much. And 2, the sacrifice deck can just pick off the Vault at will with 1 Witch's Oven activation.
True. So yeah, I feel like from Charles' side of things, this is the last turn where you can actually make something happen, right? You're just gonna be overrun by the next turn. You need to either win here or I don't even know. I don't see any of the cards in the deck that actually would get him out of this. But maybe we get away. What is this?
I mean, this is a Brutal Cathar, but it's kind of too late because this is a 2/2. So this can come into play and target a Mayhem Devil. But yeah, you just saw right there. Sacrifice Cauldron Familiar, dead.
Yeah. Doesn't even matter. Yeah,
No.
this is over. Like I'm not a Pioneer specialist by any means, but this looks very much over to me.
Yeah, this is pretty much impenetrable. The ground is clogged up, and the Mayhem Devils allow all the reach you could ever want.
But this is chess. This is white against black. Like black is defending very much, and white just can't break through. And well, okay, I guess technically black doesn't just like take over in the late game in chess by laws of nature, but it very much feels like here.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the sacrifice deck doesn't even have to necessarily attack to win. It can just use Mayhem Devil triggers and Cauldron Familiar triggers to just drain out the opponent if it wants to. As we see here, yeah, here's a swap. And this is just a free swap every single turn with the Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar. A common and an uncommon, I believe, that are just, marginal on their own, but put them together with a Mayhem Devil, which is also an uncommon. Yeah, who needs rares?
Dude, I feel like every time I look at this format, you want some kind of like instant speed graveyard removal, but I think we talked about like what's available and what people play, and it doesn't seem to be that common of a thing. But when I look at this, and I'm looking at the white side of the board, I feel like, dude, I'm almost struggling to just beat like one of those devils and the Witch's Oven combo, quotes and quotes, but this must be pretty frustrating from the other side of the board. Like your deck performed, your deck did what it's supposed to do, and it literally doesn't matter. I would think.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, this is going to be a tough. I mean, this white deck is based on small creatures that can grow and then go wide, and the Mayhem Devils can prevent all of that from happening. And so here's an attack all out, 2 blocks, and then Witch's Oven Sacrifice, throw in some extra damage.
And it comes back. Easy game.
Yep, more extra damage, and plus a drain. So that was 4 pings plus.
Oh, this is so crazy because you get to sacrifice the food as well. So you ping. Oh my! I just caught up to this now. This is, dude. This devil. This is what we need. We found your deck for Atlanta, man. Don't tell me about any other deck. This is what you're gonna play.
I mean, like I was saying, this is the second most popular black-red deck in the format. It's not even the most popular one. We can move into Modern here, where we've got. We can go back to Pioneer later, but we've got.
I think we got the decks reversed on the graphics down there, right?
We do. We have some. Yeah.
But as you can see on the right side, Eldrazi Tron. In Europe, we also call it Eltronzi. I told you about, right? I just I really like that name. And this is your typical Tron start. Tron, turn 3, big Planeswalker. This is going to be Ugin the NF barrel. So this is, I want to say, the least powerful or the less powerful version of Ugin, right? We also have the Spirit Dragon, which we can't quite cast yet.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the board, is it going to resolve? Like, what can we do? I guess. Oh yeah, Force of Negation. Legacy All-Star, I was going to say. Well, also Modern All-Star here.
Yeah, Force Negation takes care of that. Yeah, this is definitely the less powerful Ugin. It should be the only one in the deck, though. Maybe. I wouldn't expect Eldrazi Tron to have 8 mana Ugin.
It does. It has 1 copy here.
Oh, does it? Okay.
See 1 copy, and then like basically all the good stuff, like 4 Reality Smasher, 4 Thought-Knot Seer, 3 Matter Reshapers, some Walking Ballista, Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Like we're having a lot of things on the top end. And this is a way to find them. Yeah, actually, no, this is not Eye of Ugin. Eye of Ugin is banned in the format. What am I talking about? I would have totally let like Roger get away with this here. I was like, yeah, sure. Eye of Ugin, easy. Yeah, I guess this is just like how it works, especially in the first game, right? You keep asking questions with your big creature spells, and eventually the blue-white control deck is maybe going to run out of answers. Like this, maybe this is just like where we get down a Thought-Knot here or something.
Yeah, that would be excellent.
Yeah, the most important thing is just like to sequence our things correctly. Ideally, ask a question on a creature when the opponent only would have like Force of Negation available. And this is a big chalice. Chalice on 3, which should disable quite a lot of cards out of the other side of the board, especially Teferi, I would think. Like that's one of the big ones, right? Which would be able to deal with the chalice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this Eldrazi. I mean, when Eldrazi Tron actually assembles Tron, it's very powerful. It is not great at assembling Tron, but when it happens, and there's a cavern, so yeah, Tyson can forget about really doing much here.
Ooh.
Wow. That's a Kozilek. What? All right, I need to look at this deck list. This doesn't seem like a normal Eldrazi Tron deck list here. Let me see what's going on.
This is the second game. I was wondering because I didn't see it in the main deck, but yeah, Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, that's in the sidebar, the one-off.
Okay.
And that's just going to refill our hand, and we're going to cast a lot more uncounterable Eldrazi's over the next couple of turns.
Well, we might not need to cast anymore. I mean, this might do it by itself. Original Kozilek here with Annihilator. I mean, Tyson only has 4 permanents, and that's how many get annihilated when this thing attacks.
And what do we actually have to deal with it? We got a copy of Supreme Verdict.
Well, that'll
press down into something, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So there are ways. But yeah, Tyson is down the game and kind of getting smashed here. I mean, you're the control deck, and your opponent just cast a creature and drew 4 cards. That's bad.
And this is basically where why I always like to have some kind of combo finish in your control deck, so you can switch gears almost to now use your counter spells to try and protect your own combo to win the game. But of course, that's not always like available to any control deck.
Right.
And sometimes also by its can like remember Breach and Legacy, that was that was a control deck with a combo finish that was way too broken. Or it was more like a anyway. But yeah, we see Solitude taking care of Kozilek, and yeah, we are gonna have a lot more Eldrazi's coming down over the next couple of turns, I would think. We have another Urza's Mine, I believe, in hand. We're gonna have so much mana, but for now, maybe it's just gonna be a Thought-Knot Seer. Just like see whether there's anything we care about.
Yeah, I mean, there are bound to be things that matter there. Looks like Leyline Binding, Supreme Verdict, Kahira, and a Flooded Strand. But you can see that the Tron deck is just so flush with cards after that Kozilek that, I mean, this is just going to be almost an impossible scenario for this Azorius control deck to fight back against.
Yeah, this feels like, I can just like take any of those cards, even though I'm probably not gonna take your companion here. And I'm just gonna power through because my all of my cards matter, whereas you have like one answer after this and a couple of creatures that don't matter too much to me. So we're gonna take out the Leyline Binding. That card has had a huge impact on Modern, right?
Yeah, it has. In fact, it sees play in some play in Pioneer also. But especially in Modern, I mean, it's once you get everything set up, it's a 1-mana removal spell for basically anything. And the blue control deck here, yeah, you can splash colors off of triomes just to be able to cast it for less mana, even though you're really only playing 2 colors.
So this is basically like an instant speed Oblivion Ring that can get even cheaper.
Yeah.
I can see why that would have an impact.
Strong. And then all kinds of cool interactions. For example, I mean, stuff that you don't really see come up too often, but like with Shark Typhoon Hardcast, Leyland Binding can be a 1-mana 6/6 flyer. That's pretty neat. Or 7/7.
Oh yeah, I see.
6/6, yeah. It's pretty disgusting.
Did you see what we grabbed? Oh, we grabbed the Sundering Titan. Oh, we're gonna wreak havoc on that mana base.
And that's the problem with these splashing these off-color lands for the Leyline Binding. Is Sundering Titan gets 10 times better, even though it's already good.
But there's the Mystic Gate. I remember when that was a legacy card for like a week or two.
But I was trying to avoid using the player names there for a moment because there is some confusion on the what I have written down is that Ivan, Raja, and Zach Allen are a team. So we do have some.
Yeah, chat tells us that Raja is actually the control player and Tyson is the Eldrazi Tron player.
Yeah.
And also Zach Allen is probably playing 4-color and Rami is playing Mono Red Painter. Yeah, that's probably what it's gonna be like. So yeah, Joe, as a retired control player, what does it feel like to sit there in the control player's position to try and fight back against a wave that keeps building up and eventually it's just gonna engulf you and it's gonna be over, but you still fight?
It's discouraging, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're fighting. I mean, the control deck has 6 mana in play. This Tron deck has currently 13.
All the mana.
And everything's uncounterable. And they already have a Planeswalker in play and a Chalice. I mean, you're oh my gosh. Yeah, why not? Let's load up. Chalice on 2, Chalice on 3. Get out of here.
I mean, keep track. So Chalice on 2 means that we can't cast a Chalice on 1 now, right? But I guess we won't have to.
No, we don't have to.
Oh, I see. The Chalice on 2 is actually trying to play around a Dress Down. I guess that's one way. That's
sure.
Smart.
Dress down, counterspell, whatever. Yeah.
Just pack it in.
And that's it. Eldrazi Tron crushes blue-white control. All right, we're going to go back to Pioneer, sounds like, as the other 2 matches are shuffling, and we'll apologize for the there we go. This actually might be the correct lineup on this slide.
And this is also one of the correct selections of basic lands on Charles' side. I just love these. I think these are like East African themed.
Yeah, of course you love them. This is the kind of land you can see on a safari. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This looks like Masai Mara. If you ever heard of it, one of the best safari parks in the world.
All right, so
dude, Joe, you told me this might be different after sideboarding, or did you? I just made that up, but this doesn't look any different at all. This just looks a repeat of the first game, except Charles this time doesn't even have any creatures.
No, well, the Mayhem Devils probably already killed everything.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm telling you. As long as they don't errata this to be legendary, I guess it wouldn't even have mattered in this game. I don't see this deck going anywhere. It's just like the best deck in the format. Nobody knows it yet.
Well,
yeah, you're laughing. I've got this format figured out, man. I'm gonna win that Atlanta thing, the DreamHack thing for you. I hope you remember me when the interview on stage.
Even if you qualify, you have your own DreamHack somewhere else. I'm sure you have your own. Right?
I don't even know, man.
It's a regional championship. You cannot come.
I could acquire American citizenship or something.
I suppose.
Maybe I have it. Maybe I just never told you.
All right, here's a rest in peace. Rest in peace actually will have an impact. It will shut down the recursion of the Cauldron Familiar Witch's Oven stuff, which has not been drawn this game.
Yeah, we're just gonna take this one out, dude. This is almost like disgusting, and we get to draw a card for it as well. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
But was that a blood token, or what actually did we use there?
I don't think it was a
clue. It was a clue token, yeah. Because I was waiting for Ivan to discard, but if it's a clue token, we just get to keep the card.
The ones on the board, I think, are blood tokens. Here is a Gigantha, the companion from the sacrifice deck.
And you got the oven. Well, the oven.
I don't know that if I was trying to describe all the attributes of this mono white deck, I think ability to come back, it would not be one of them. This is not deck that recovers especially well. There are things that do allow that, stuff like Extraction Specialist, but that's shut down by the rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I mean, there's a castle in play, so Charles can make some tokens, I guess, but Mayhem Devil isn't going to have any trouble picking those off. And there's the Brutal Cathar in hand, and that's just, well, I guess at the moment, Brutal Cathar actually conceivably could do something.
Yeah, we would need like something like a second Mayhem Devil or a second way to put something to the graveyard. I guess, is this a fetch land that we... No, it can't be.
All right, where are we working our way towards here? All right. So there is a bodyguard that can protect Immunavault. All right. I wonder if Charles is trying to convince Ivan to commit resources so then the Brutal Cathar can come down and snatch up the Mayhem Devil. But Ivan isn't interested.
Ivan is just like, yeah, sure, you got that. I'm just gonna get there eventually. Dude, is that just like or let's approach it this way. What is the best removal spell that mono white could actually play other than Brutal Cathar? Like an actual hard removal spell that could be a thing in the format for this deck?
I mean, game one, there's not going to be anything.
It's actually pretty wild. Like if you consider a format that doesn't have like a good white removal spell.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, they're just the ones stolen by the other colors. There's Leyline Binding. Good luck with that. I mean, we can see there's Portable Hole, Declaration in Stone. Like, I mean, those are playable cards. Those are in the sideboard. That, in fact, is probably where the clue came from. It's probably from Declaration in Stone. But here is
We have 3 copies of that. We have 3 copies of Portable Hole in the sideboard. So that's... But Portable Hole actually doesn't really deal with the devil, right?
No,
does it? Or actually, how much is the devil? It's 3 mana or something?
Yeah, it doesn't do it. Yeah, here we have... So I claim the Firstborn into, I believe, Village Rites. So 1 mana, steal your creature. 1 more mana, sacrifice your creature. Draw 2 cards.
That's filthy.
So, yeah, it is somewhat one-sided here. Den the Bugbear's going to come in here. Swing in. Generate a token. Sure, your Univault can block my token for free. If it wants to. This is just an obliteration. If one of the other matches is competitive, we could switch over because this...
Is this how this matchup plays out most of the time, or is it just like it just the cards didn't come Charles' way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's good tools for mono white to fight against this. Like we were saying, like the removal spells don't line up. Even if you can handle some of the early creatures, the claim the firstborn into sacrifice effect, whatever you have to sacrifice it with. I mean, Brave the Elements is kind of required to combat that, but Brave the Elements is also required to break through, and it's just taxed so much. You only have 4 of them, and you probably want more like 10 in the matchup. And then, you do. I mean, we didn't see it. We didn't see Adeline. We didn't see Extraction Specialist. Some of the cards that generate advantage. But it is tough otherwise. All right, so here we are in Legacy. Zach Allen versus Rami Mansour.
And it looks like we're having some mana trouble on the side of Rami.
Yeah.
We are already by at least turn 5, only having 2 lands in play. We attempted a Goblin Engineer that, from what we see, got Hydroblasted. And now 4-color gets to just like sit back and do its thing, even though we don't really see a lot of great stuff on Zach's side of the board. I think I've seen a Dress Down in hand. We just put Yorion back into our hand. And yeah, Rami probably like has a lot of things that he could cast, but he needs the 3rd land. He probably wants to get something like a Fable of the Mirror Breaker down. What else would there be that we can't cast for 2 mana? Maybe we don't want to run out like a Naked Painter. Yeah, we're just gonna draw a card here. Just cycle this, maybe find a land, maybe find, I think a Magus of the Moon has been attempted earlier in the game from what I can see down there. And yeah, this is just a cycled Dress Down. Are we gonna do it end of turn or gonna do it in main phase?
Probably depends on what Zach might have to follow up, but yeah, this is. I mean, Zach's kind of just trying to build an unbeatable position here.
Yeah.
There's no real.
Sometimes you can do it end of turn if you want to run out an Uro on your next main phase and have it stick around. That's one of the small little combos this card enables in Legacy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is at least a card that can potentially do something, even though we're probably not going to activate it for a while. I'm not even sure if we need to deal with it.
Right. Well, Zach does. I mean, Zach doesn't have a lot of resources to play with. I think there's another Dress Down in hand, which isn't worth much right now.
Yeah, ideally Zach wants to pick something up like, like Minsc and Boo, which is all. But even the Yorion, like when your opponent is this weak, you might just run out the Yorion because it's a big flying dragon. On the other hand, of course, you would expect Rami to be sitting on at least some Pyroblasts or Hydroblasts. Oh yeah, and we got 3 mana. And here we go. Another Magus of the Moon. Maybe float 1 white mana and then take it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to. I mean, Zach doesn't have very much. Okay, yeah, we're gonna see a couple fetch lands here. That would make sense. I mean, is Zach's hand just Yorion and second Dress Down? I don't know if he has anything else.
I guess this is actually kind of interesting. I thought when Zach was very happy to run out the Swords to Plowshares on the Goblin Engineer that wasn't really doing anything, on the Goblin Welder that wasn't really doing anything, I thought he might have more removal spells or something to do. But if this just like resolves, I mean, he got the basic forest, he got the basic plains. Do you see a basic island somewhere over there? Not yet.
No,
and that fetchland also can't get it. Okay. Response cycle this.
Yeah.
This is also not the kind of matchup where you're in a weird spot against Paint. I've played this matchup many times, mostly from the Painter side. And it's a weird spot for the control deck because they kind of want some kind of like Force of Will effects, especially since you can produce, something like this very early on. On the other hand, you don't really want, because the games usually go long and the opponent has access to a ton of Pyroblast effects. So Rami often has the better stuff, but Zach has ways to deal with it. But eventually, and you know this better than most control players, right? You eventually have to do something as a control deck. You have to land your chase. You have to land. The 2022 chase is called Minsc and Boo. You have to land that, or maybe get your Uro going. But right now, this is a classical game of. I'm not gonna call it, but you know the principle of how mana screw eventually beats mana flat.
Absolutely. So, and this is, I mean, okay, this is going to be a Rami 2 for 1ing himself, but Zach Allen is empty-handed. Zach Allen has nothing. And
That's
okay,
probably the
ponder.
best card you can draw, right? When you're
Sure.
you're
Well, it needs
empty-handed,
to
this is
hit though.
exactly what you want.
It needs to hit. Life from Loam, that's not gonna really do much. I mean, I suppose it's something, but uh I can't tell how
Yeah.
many cards are in Rami's hand, but it is several.
Yeah, Rami should be like fully equipped to basically unleash something for the next 2 or 3 turns. Rami doesn't have the super high end that you sometimes see in these painter decks, as in something like a Karn, but yeah, looking at the deck list, this looks very close what my Callum Smith, my co-host on the podcast, plays. Yeah, this is sweet. You eventually you can also just like get there by having something like Goblin Engineer do its thing and get like twin shot snipers or even like Breyer's Apprentice. Breyer's Apprentice is one of my favorite cards to grind out these control decks when you have some graveyard interaction going on. And yeah, it looks like we just wastelanded there. Smart, since Rami was short on mana on the previous turn. So what Zach is hoping for here is just a pass back and nothing. Okay, Simian Spirit Guide into Fable of the Mirror Breaker, one of the best cards in a situation like this. And if you're Zach, you're not happy. You're very much not happy about this.
No, I mean he kept on the ponder, but with the fetch land and the ability to dredge. So okay, it's gonna be to clear the top of the deck.
Might have a Mystic Sanctuary to get something. Let me
Yeah.
see. I don't see a Mystic Sanctuary in here. No, so
He's got time. Fable is not gonna put pressure like Legion Warboss and such that we saw in the last round.
No, but even just like the cycling effect is
Right.
going to be big.
No, it
There's
definitely
a very high
matters.
chance that Rami's going to recover on mana and eventually maybe even find like another basic mountain, which is what you're looking for, because right now Psych has the ability to basically wasteland you every single time you find a non-basic land.
Yeah, if he
And from
chooses to. I
there,
mean, Zach can't be too excited about giving up his turn to Life in Lower Wasteland here, but you're right. He definitely could do that. And is that
I thought about was maybe some kind of Teferi. Oh, Minskin Boo.
yeah, that's what
Ooh,
I thought
literally the
it
best
was.
card we could have drawn.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, well, this is gonna change things fairly quickly.
Yeah,
There
no,
is
Rami, you really need
Monster.
something, because
Mhm.
this card is just gonna destroy you. This is I want to call it the best Planeswalker in Legacy, and I don't think a lot of people actually really disagree with that. This card has hit Legacy like a truck. It took a while for it to actually show up on Magic Online, but there's even like entire dedicated decks. There's something like Minsk and Boo Stompy that I've even lost against a couple of times now, where people build the entire deck about ramping out Minsk and Boo as quickly as possible. I recently played against it when they got it in the first turn. It was disgusting.
Well, and there's 2 cards pitched, and Rami, did just use a Bolt and a Twin Shot Sniper, I think, on the Yorion, so there may not be enough removal left to deal with this, and this is I mean, doesn't take long for this to
Basically, what you want to do here
major
is you want
impact.
to get down a Painter, play a land, and Pyroblast the Minsk and Boo.
Oh, yes, that would work.
Yeah.
Since it didn't happen immediately, I don't think that, Mr. Mansour here has it.
I'm trying to make out the cards in Rami's hand, but it's kind of hard to see. Apparently, I think I've maybe seen a Painter. I can't really tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this is
kinda
going to get out of control pretty quickly. Like with every single turn that Rami's not going to do something, like even next turn, we can just like get in there for 4 damage and then draw 4 cards. It's just like completely hilarious. The card gets out of control like nothing else in Legacy, Planeswalker wise.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
but there's
definitely
definitely a Painter there.
yeah.
And it's gonna be Engineer. Okay. So could this be a grindstone? Yeah, it's a grindstone. Okay, so we're gonna try to root force our way to a win here. We're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna make this game as short as possible and just get you with the grindstone and the painter
Yeah.
before Minsk does something crazy. I mean,
That's
what are you gonna do here with Minsk? Are you gonna shoot the engineer next turn, or I mean, sounds reasonable.
I mean, yeah, that does seem fine. I mean, what is I'm more thinking about from Mr. Mansour's side, like, what is the I mean, you can't expect this engineer to live, and even if it does, we need
I
a
mean,
lot more mana. This is
I mean, there's a world where it kind of lives if you attack with your token there to get the token
The
to
treasure. I thought about
the
that
treasure. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Then you can cast Painter, and then the opponent might kill either Painter or Engineer.
Mhm. And
And then you untap with either of those.
maybe if you attack and there's you can threaten, having a lightning bolt, but that doesn't seem all that believable. I think there's a decent chance Zach would just block because it doesn't cost them a ton, even if you do have the bolt.
Dude, I love Painter so much, but it's not very good at removing planeswalkers that are non-blue. That's, I guess Fury is one way. We haven't talked about Fury yet. Fury is really good. That would have been an amazing card here to take out the Minskin Boo. We got 2 copies in the main deck, 1 copy in the sideboard. I very much expect the third Fury to come in this matchup. But yeah, we didn't really have it here, and now too many cards for Zach. Like, this is going to be really rough to overcome. The one way you can try and win this is by having a quick combo. But this is probably going to be your last turn where you can make it work before things spin completely out of control. And to be totally honest, things already are out of control.
Right. No, this is, there's a Force of Vigor in hand now for Zach Allen that gives him a nice protection. With the Painter still in hand for Rami, drawing blasts are useful, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you would take out the Minsk, right? And then you hope that Zach doesn't have anything, which is kind of hard because if the blast doesn't get countered and the Painter doesn't get removed in response, then what does Zach actually have in hand? And you also have to hope that it's not going to be a Minskin Boo. So it's really like all lands and completely crappy spells, which, you try to create the scenario in your head where you're winning and you're playing towards that scenario and have a very hard time even coming up with that scenario in the first place.
Okay, there is a hardcast Force of Vigor taking down the Fable that was sitting there.
And this is just like how quickly things spin out of control.
I don't know that striking down the Fable there, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure that needed to happen necessarily right then.
Yeah, especially since the token doesn't even have haste, right?
Right,
It just
right.
comes into play. It's not actual Kiki Chiki, it's Kiki Chiki without haste.
All right, so now Zach's gonna recur the Life from the Loam, spilling over 3 decent cards, but it's no longer short of action. And Wasteland taking out Urza Saga is obviously desirable.
Yeah, we're basically gonna play the rest of the game on this 3 mana, maybe 4 at times. But yeah, things are gonna go out of control before we ever get to amount to anything big. Like, it's kind of funny when you look at Rami's side of the board. This is literally the board we had like 2 turns ago, whereas Zach has really developed like pretty far by just like having all these extra cards in hand. I feel sorry for Rami. Like, this looks like pretty much a blowout, but it really came down to that one turn where Zach found the Minskin Boo, and Rami didn't have anything to try and kill it with, say, Furies. That's just like one of those key interactions in this matchup where you need the Furies to take out the Minskin Boos.
All right, so here's an attack 4 with the Haste Hamster. And there's another force. All right, get rid of Saga and Fable. No reason to commit this Wasteland when I've got this Fable this force take out both cards, and then there's just
we found a 4th land, and we still have the Paint on hand.
Right. Maybe if Zach has nothing and you have you draw a blast to go with this Painter, you can kill the Minsk, and then you could recover. Rami still has a lot of life, but it looks like it's a mountain in hand alongside the Painter. Yeah, I'm not sure that Zach has much left back, but if this Minsk lives, he doesn't need it necessarily.
Chat is actually saying that Zach accidentally put a prismatic ending in the giant pile of lands on his side of the board. Let's see if he actually ends up tapping it for mana. I actually didn't see it, but yeah, there's a big stack of lands, and Apparently, there's a prismatic ending somewhere in there. We will see whether it gets caught, if it's actually there. Yeah,
That
there it
was
is. Okay,
wow.
got it. Goes to the graveyard.
That's got to be a game loss, right? You can't tap prismatic ending for mana.
EQ'd from the entire tournament.
Exactly. Yeah, your whole team wiped out. Sorry. All right, here's a Narset. Yeah, this is curtains on this one. It looks like the Narset is just window dressing. Teferi, sure, but Minsk and Boo, the champion planeswalker of this round for sure.
Yeah, we just pack it in.
Yeah.
And that concludes the match, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. So the team of Ivan Espinosa, Raja Sulaiman, and Zach Allen will. Oh.
Uh-huh. Oh, the dots were switched. Okay.
See. All
so
right.
Painter was actually up a game here. So we're going to the third game. Okay, that's amazing.
Excellent.
I love myself some Painter. Or maybe we're going to switch to Modern. I don't know. I'm down for anything.
All right, let's go ahead and go to Modern. The word is that it's competitive. So let's jump over here. And we've got, looks like Blue Control looking a little better than the last time we visited this match.
Ever so slightly.
Yes. So we've got Jace on 1, Teferi on 1, some constructs, and a whole bunch of land. So Green Tron versus Control, if you have this much mana available, it almost seems inevitable that you'll win eventually. Eldrazi Tron maybe is not quite as strong, but still pretty good. And these Urza Saga constructs actually play a pretty big role. I don't know if that Kahir is in play or if that's the companion zone. Maybe we could let me see if I
Kinda looks like it's in
get
play.
word from the spotter.
Maybe it's phased out. Who knows? It's kind of like an interesting. So we see that, by the way, that Teferi is on 1. So I guess that meant that he destroyed a bunch of construct tokens, because Eldrazi's, you don't really want to bounce those, right? That's usually coming back to bite you pretty big on the next turn. On the other hand, minusing Teferi to bounce one of those constructs, that feels amazing.
Yeah.
Or even like, have you bounced Urza Saga with Teferi?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a really sweet play especially if you're going first and they drop Saga in turn 2 and you just reset it. That's awesome. All right, Chalice on 2 here. Okay, so the Kahira was in the companion zone. We get word, and now you can see they actually moved it a little bit. Here's Thought Not Seer after the Chalice, not grabbing. Leyline Binding looks like it's being cast in response. To take one of the constructs, and Counterspell is removed to Thought Not Seer, leaving just a land behind. The best answer for these multiple constructs is Dress Down, which is shut off by Chalice on 2. So I'm sure that's played into Tyson's choice to put it on 2. As you can see, based on the mana available, he could have played the Chalice for any amount he wanted.
Yeah, and we okay, we got Solitude here. Solitude is going to take out probably something like the Thoughtless here, give you another card to work with. By the way, what's going on with those dice? Oh, is this the size of the construct? Yeah. It's not the number of construct. Oh, I was confused there for a second. I was like, wait, did we just like randomly have another construct? It's like, is this how it goes? Oh man. I recently played with a friend of mine. He played Magic for the first time in 20 years. And when his creature's power and toughness changed due to some effects, he literally put 2 dice to represent power and toughness onto the creature, because it was so confusing for him. And he had like 7 creatures in play where that happened, and we eventually ran out of dice. And he told me, how do people do this in a tournament? And I was like, they just do it in their head. And he was like blown away, like, how is this even possible?
Well, certainly the game is a little more, it changed a lot in 20 years. I mean, wow, that's funny. So one reason I don't like using die to represent the size of the construct, for example, is it changes all the time. So like right now, it's no longer accurate already.
It's a 2/2 now.
It's a 2/2, and it's same as it's worse than the Tarmogoyf dice because it changes more often. But it's not.
Yes, something I've seen people do is like put a dice beneath the card, like on the bottom, not actually on the card. But yeah, let's see. I mean, this needs to be caught, right? It's only going to attack for 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is because this is. I mean, and both players are probably spacing on this. but
it doesn't make it easier that the
Raja
Eldrazi
needs,
often looks as if they were like
yeah, Raja
artifacts.
needs to know how much he's actually being attacked for here and what's going on. And this is
Okay, if these are the attacks, like if the construct is on Chase and Reality Smasher is on Teferi, then at least for this turn won't matter, and hopefully it gets caught at some point. But yeah, well, if these are actually the attacks, so we got a Solitude, yeah, that's going to come down, and we can actually save both Planeswalkers if we want to. We're going to take this one out,
yeah,
and then we can block what's actually a 2/2.
right. So this, okay.
Oh, and there's something else from Tyson's side in response. I guess that must be something like what's the Eldrazi removal spell called? Warping Whale.
There's Warping Well and Spatial Contortion.
I think Warping Whale is what we see in this list.
Okay,
But
I
that
didn't
doesn't actually
see,
do it.
I didn't see one cast though. Yeah, I do to just trade off. Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, I thought he was like tapping 2 mana
Yeah,
there
I
for
thought he was
something
tapping
like
mana
a
also.
Dismember.
But yeah,
Oh yeah,
there's
he can't cast during the
yeah,
attack anyway
yeah,
because
okay,
of
that's what it
Teferi.
was.
Maybe
Yeah.
actually he was trying to go for something and
Okay,
then
that makes
remembered
sense.
that's
Yeah, because he
Teferi. Yeah.
definitely, I saw him reach for mana and then nothing happened. But you're right, that would explain it if he tried to, and then Roger was like, "I have Teferi." Okay, so anyway, got that straightened out. Both Planeswalkers are still alive. Thought on Seer swung through.
I'm still not used to Chase like being an actual modern card. I just looked at Roger like drawing 3 cards and I was like, whoa! Oh no, wait, you can actually do that. Such a good card. If only it was Minskin Boo. You know, Minskin Boo has been so influential. People even run Hydroblasts now, like all
Yeah,
over the
I
place,
know.
everywhere.
I have seen Hydroblast in the last couple months more than I think I ever did before that. Yeah, I mean it's, yeah, sure. Okay, we pick off random creatures, but yeah, stupid Minskin Boo. Changing the whole format.
So what's this gonna be? 3 mana. Oh yeah. You get a big, I don't even remember the creature type. Let's call it a cat. It's basically just like your thing that you sometimes pitch to Solitude, and on rare occasions it actually comes down as a beater, or in this case probably more like a blocker.
Yeah, the Elemental Lord Cat Beast. Elementals, Nightmare, Dinosaurs, Cats, or Beasts get +1/+1 Vigilance.
I wonder how they
First
figured out
on.
which creatures should actually like be pumped by this. Is this like all the creatures that don't have proper lords right now?
Maybe. Elementals have other lords, but yeah, those other creatures may not. All right, Dismember takes it down regardless, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. And
Get a Mind Stone in hand. That's probably gonna get cycled.
this Thoughtseed.
Oh no, we can't even cast the Mind Stone. There's a Chosen 2 in play.
We gotta kill a Planeswalker here, or Raj is just gonna completely take over. Let's see.
Oh, we're gonna bounce it?
Yeah, Otawara will return it to hand.
Wait, what did we? Oh, we drew a card because we went back. Okay, cool. So now it's gonna come back down, and we're gonna take. What's that gonna be? That's a counter spell. Is that a subtlety? I can't tell.
It's Memory Deluge, Counterspell, and Subtlety. Yeah. So Memory Deluge is out of here. Nice to exile that one, but well, I guess there is an Urza Saga that can make tokens, so there is some ground to be gained here for Tyson. But it's tough to fight against active Jace, which everybody knows that played Legacy, up until a few years ago when Jace became unplayable.
Yeah, you know what they say, right? If you untap with an active Chase, you just instantly win the game. The opponent just doesn't know it yet.
I don't know if it's quite that far, but yeah, Jace is obviously super duper good. Raja disrespecting Jace though by using the worst ability on the card, the 0 effect.
What are we gonna do? We're gonna bounce something again? No? Oh, we're gonna cash it in?
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, this feels like the old, bounce my Snapcaster Mage, replay it again.
Sure.
And keep drawing cards all the way. Man, this is great.
All right, so another counterspell drawn. So there's a couple dead cards in Raj's hand because of the chalice on 2.
saw chat is actually rooting for Eldrazi because they want to see the third match of Painter against 4-color.
Ah, sure, that makes sense. Did we... Where are we at here?
I mean, I don't hate where Tyson is, honestly. We also have a Urza Saga going on right now.
Didn't Urza Saga... What happened?
Oh,
Shouldn't Urza Saga be on 3?
Should it? I thought it was on 1 last turn.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, but chat is actually saying it's 3. Okay, so it looks like we actually missed the 3 then.
Yeah, because there's a construct I think I did,
Oh, yeah, that probably just straight up got missed.
I think it did, because I think a construct was just made. So then when you untap, it has to be on 3, or not untap, but when you go to your draw step, it has to be on 3. Yeah, so that's going to have screwed this up, because there should be a tutor effect that should have happened. Obviously before the Karn was cast.
Like I was gonna say, it's not gonna just sit there at 3, right? Something needs to happen.
No, yeah, because you can't. There's it. Yeah, okay. So the judge is gonna get involved here. It would either stay at 2 because it was missed, or it would go to 3 and trigger it. It can't go to 3 and then not trigger. That would not be, I don't think, a potential outcome of the ruling here. Yeah. As chat pointed out, fortunately, it does not impact the draw because you don't tutor on upkeep. So it is, yeah, it looks like they may be considerably rolling this back here, because it is possible to back up because the decks weren't impacted. So, because you can see the Karn has left the graveyard and it is now on the stack, I think. All right.
Joe, and speaking of backups, what's the furthest backup a judge has ever issued for a game of yours?
Oh, for a game of mine?
Like an attack step or a draw step or even an entire turn?
Well, the one that's I talked about this before. The most ridiculous, the longest one as far as time that it took was an Emrakul that was went to the graveyard and was shuffling on an end of turn and like discard the hand size. And then I picked up my graveyard, did most of one shuffle, and then the opponent was like, wait, I have scavenging ooze, I want to eat the Emrakul. And so the judges then tried to determine how many cards were in my graveyard. This was probably turn 10. And then figure out how many cards were in the graveyard, and then try and guess, unshuffle the deck in order to put the graveyard back, in order to allow the scavenging ooze to eat the Emrakul, and then reshuffle everything back together. And it probably took 12 minutes.
And
it had no impact on the game whatsoever.
You know what it was for me?
Yeah, no, I want to hear it though.
This is why I brought it up. The furthest backup, I'm not even sure if you can call it a backup. It's more like a rollback, is 3 entire turns. Like we were in turn 4, we were about to begin turn 4. We backed up to the beginning of the match.
All right, hold on. What format was this? Was this Legacy?
Modern.
It was Modern. All right, I'm gonna try and see if I can maybe chat. And as we wait this ruling,
we can chat as well.
Can we guess what could have led to that big of a backup?
By backup, I don't mean we just like shuffled up again and played the match again. We literally put back the cards we drew for each turn and put back the opening hands and started again. And I don't think anybody's ever gonna guess unless they were involved, because it was actually a broadcast match, which made it a lot easier. But yeah, it was one of the weirdest backups I ever experienced. It was actually hilarious.
All right, I'm gonna guess it was a Thalia that the players didn't take into account, and so they had to something got played with that wasn't taxed, and they had to back up. Right, that's my guess.
No. It's but then you wouldn't back up to the beginning of the match, right?
I suppose not. I expected my guess to be wrong. That's just what I'm going with. Tell us what actually happened.
I appreciate the honesty. The thing that actually happened.
Maybe we'll hear it after the. Okay, so we got the ruling. Maybe we'll hear your story after the match is over with.
Cool. Let's do it that way.
All right. So if we have a ruling, go ahead and give it to us. Otherwise, okay. So the Karn's back in the graveyard. Okay, it looks like the ruling is being given. All right, go ahead and tell us your story.
Okay, so the actual thing that happened is It's my 4th turn. I'm trying to figure out whether I already played a land, because I thought I had not played a land, but it looked like if I had played a land. And I look at my side of the board for like almost a minute, which is already like not cool. And then it dawns upon me, the wrong player started the game. I had won the die roll. I had decided to start. My opponent said okay and started the game. She literally said okay and then played the first land, and then we just like played the game. And
wow, I'm surprised they let you have that back. I would think they would just rule you chose to go second and then just stay with what you had.
We both agreed that I had decided to go first, and then they were like, okay, in that case, we are gonna roll it back, and they rolled it back to the very beginning of the match. I didn't expect that to happen. I thought they were just like, oh man, can't do anything about it.
That is, I would not have guessed that, but that is funny. Okay, so it looks like this Urza Saga is triggering. A construct was made. It is now tutoring through the deck. Meanwhile, chat, if you can beat Julian's story of a game restarting on turn 4 because the players who were supposed to go first, go ahead. Throw in your experience in the chat. We'll get to it later. This Mind Stone does make it onto the board as the chalice is no longer there. And bang, Archmage's Charm going to steal the construct.
So did we find something like we got the trigger of the what's the saga, right? So what did you find? Did we find like a relic of Progenitors that I see there, or I feel like it might have been relic.
Maybe it missed.
It could have missed, yeah.
I mean, the relic is exiled and the graveyards aren't, so it couldn't have been that.
True.
So now we've got both players using dice to represent the constructs, even though they are currently correct. So I guess we could count our blessings. Tyson, though, now with no action at all, no more Urza Sagas. I guess the Mind Stone in play can be sacrificed.
Oh yeah, because we got rid of our Shadows of the Void.
Turns, it looks like.
Oh, this is interesting. So if this is in turns, then it's gonna be decided by either this or the mono red painter match, because there's the potential of one of those matches going to time, and if both go to time and remain undecided, then they're gonna win of the pioneer result. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Yeah, you would win 1-0-2. Another Karn. That's not gonna resolve. I guess it could actually be redrawn immediately off the Mind Stone and cast again.
Not true. Wait, now this goes down to 1 if we sacrifice the Mind Stone. Wait, it dies now? Okay. Oh, because of the subtlety or something? Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what just happened there. Well, I don't see how the subtlety would have any impact on it.
Yeah.
It's unless it.
Maybe we went to -1 artifacts or something.
Did I miss? Oh, it was already. No, it attacked and got blocked by the other construct. So now it became a 1/1 with 1 damage on it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
All right. So then.
This is actually interesting from a strategic point of view. Like if you look over to the 4-color against mono red painter matchup, and you feel like they are probably gonna draw.
Well, let's go ahead and jump over the right quick. This game looks like it's unlikely to finish. So let's jump over there. Okay, they're picking up their cards, which must imply, director, that painter won. Oh,
they drew. Okay,
so the legacy went through the 5 turns and did actually draw. So yeah, this is going to be a 1-0-2 win for the team of Espinosa, Sulaiman, and
No, that's still the yeah, I guess practically, because Tyson's not going to win the game
unless Tyson wins the game in 2 turns, which I don't even know how that would happen.
It's the biggest Eldrazi you can imagine. Cast it now and try to win the game.
A big walking ballista. It could be Emrakul, original Emrakul Time Walk, attack for 15.
Just try to take both of the remaining extra turns.
Yeah,
is this how we win?
That would do it.
Dude, that's flavorful. I like it. Emrakul is so powerful, it just like takes over the extra turns as well. Yeah, 102. Looks like that's what it's gonna be.
I mean, we got rid of Yorion in Modern. I thought we were going to reduce the time spent in these control matches, but I guess that's not to be the case.
Chat is asking, do extra turns count towards the 5? I think they do,
They
pretty much.
do.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you cast Time Warp or something like that, if you string a bunch of time walks together, you could take all 5 extra turns. The opponent is not obligated to get any. It's 5 turns total. You take as many of them as you can. All right, so this is in fact also a draw. You can see a pair of 5s there, 2 turn 5 unfinished games, and somehow the Pioneer match that was fairly lopsided decided this match completely.
Yeah,
So
it's just
yeah,
like how it happens sometimes. It's never really satisfying, right? When you feel like you could
no,
have tried to win the match. On the other hand, I mean, there's good reasons why we don't let these good matches go on forever. Remember to go very far back, Pro Tour Berlin 2008, where they had like
okay.
these Fs and Fs matches, and where people were like on, I don't know, 2000 live, and I have like 716 insect tokens, and they kept track with like an actual calculator and stuff. Yeah, that's also prone to either like totally blow somebody out or go to time.
So way back. So I've maybe spoken about this before. You may have heard this. I remember way back in a qualifier, or maybe it was a local Grand Prix. I can't remember, where there was elves at the time. There was the combo. You could have Heritage Druid, Elvish Visionary, Nettle Sentinel,
Mhm.
and then Cloudstone Curio, which is when you have a creature come into play, you can bounce one, right? So there's a loop. There's a loop with Nettle Sentinel, Heritage Druid, Visionary, and then there was Essence Warden in play. Is that, or whatever the elf version of is that Essence Warden the elf version of the Gain of Life creature?
I know which one you mean, yeah.
Yeah. And so the player, I wasn't playing in the match, but the player was like, here's my combo. I'm going to, in turn bounce each of these creatures and recast them. So I generate 3 mana from Heritage Druid, gain a life, and draw a card. And the opponent's like, okay. And the player's like, and I think this is still the case, but if you demonstrate a loop, you can just say how many times you want to do the loop, right? So the player's like, I will gain 1,000 life. And the other player's like, cool, you just decked yourself.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and that was the end of that. Anyway,
cool. Yeah.
all right. Rules interactions going back through the ages. Good stuff every time. All right, that's the end of round 2. Thanks for being with us.